good afternoon and welcome to News Panorama, reaching you from NTA Kaduna Network Center. I am Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachku. In today's package, President Muhammadu Buhari solicits United Nations support towards fast recovery of Nigeria's stolen wealth abroad. Federal government puts together anti-corruption framework together with civil society groups. DG NYSC advocates more skill acquisition centers for core members for self-reliance. These and others shortly. Nigeria has solicited for the support of the United Nations Office for Drug and Crime towards facilitating fast recovery of the country's stolen wealth stashed abroad. President Muhammadu Buhari made the request during an audience with the Executive Secretary of the UN Office, Mr. Yuri Fedotov. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the details.
President Muhammadu Buhari has described as encouraging that a genuine efforts by his administration to deal with corruption and drugs have earned Nigeria international respect. He said by fighting the scourge of drugs and corruption, as well as rebuilding trustworthiness, integrity, and good business practices, Nigeria is not only doing a favor to herself, but also the international community. The president is, however, worried that the process of recovering the nation's stolen assets had become tedious and Nigerians are becoming impatient. This, he said, informed the resolve by the federal government to look for more cooperation from the European Union, United States, and other countries, as well as international institutions, in order to hasten the recovery process, especially proceeds from Nigeria's stolen crude oil. President Buhari promised to work with the UN agency towards rehabilitating young Nigerians who have been misled into consumption and trafficking of illicit drugs. The Executive Secretary of the UNODC, Mr. Yuri Fedotov, said the agency has selected Nigeria as a pilot country for support and strategic cooperation in the fight against drugs and corruption.
Nigeria indeed has a top priority for UNODC, and we're looking forward to continue working with you. I was very pleased at the meeting which has ended. His Excellency the President and other ministers expressed some specific points and suggestions, advices that are very important to us, so we could fine-tune our programs and projects to live up to your expectations.
From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
The federal government, along with various anti-corruption agencies and civil society organizations, have put together an anti-corruption framework which is to be represented at a World Anti-Corruption Summit built for London next week. The framework was from the Anti-Corruption Summit held in Abuja. Femi Okewu was there and now reports.
On the 12th of May, a World Anti-Corruption Summit will begin in London. The Abuja Anti-Corruption Summit is therefore to set a national agenda for that summit, and indeed, the President himself will lead the delegation to that summit. Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, in a message to the summit, stressed that Nigeria's priority is building strong institutions that will help sustain the fight against corruption, lamenting that corruption has continued to be a main driver of poverty in Nigeria.
Analysis of corruption in Nigeria suggests that patronage culture has evolved around a powerful elite that is in control of oil revenues and would do anything to maintain the status quo.
Various other organizations spoke about the advantages the London summit will provide for Nigeria's fight against corruption.
Those of you who are going will be able to get enough ideas, information, and position which will have an outcome that will have the greatest benefit for this country.
Fighting corruption requires the efforts of various governance institutions, including through the enforcement of existing anti-corruption laws, rules, and regulation.
We concentrate all our attention about fighting corruption at federal government level. We forget about the state. Without the states, where is Nigeria?
Resolutions from the Abuja Anti-Corruption Summit will be used to galvanize international support to recover Nigeria's stolen funds. In Abuja, Femi Okewu, NTA News.
The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Okechukwu Enalema, says the federal government is working towards the implementation of the Nigerian Industrial Revolution Plan. This is part of the minister's presentation at the House of Representatives sectoral debates on the Nigerian economy. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nko reports.
The biggest economies of the world have been known to have well-developed industrial sector. That is why the House of Representatives invited the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Okechukwu Enalema, to brief members on how best to turn the industrial sector into Nigeria's biggest revenue earner. The minister explained that Nigeria is capable of joining the League of Nations with huge gross domestic product, GDP, from industrialization and trade if 4 major issues are addressed. He described them as the 4 pillars of diversification in the sector. They are creation of enabling environment for investors, implementation of Nigeria's Industrial Revolution Plan, government to champion the cause of small and medium-scale enterprise, SMEs, and the need for legislative intervention in the sector.
Manufacturing currently contributes only a 10% to our GDP, much lower than it does in other emerging market economies. Our industrialization ambition is hinged on the Nigerian Industrial Revolution Plan, which was launched by the previous government in 2014. It is now time to move from plan to action. It is now our duty to implement that plan in light of current realities.
The federal government, in collaboration with the state governments, will try to address certain infrastructural deficiencies.
So standardization has been a problem. We have a lot of retail chains coming into Nigeria, but we hardly have Nigerian-made goods being sold in those retail chains.
We need to be encouraging countries to come into Nigeria to produce so that we can export and earn forex.
What are we doing to improve the ease of doing business in Nigeria?
But the strength of this nation going forward must always rest on the SMEs. I believe that the goal of our democracy must be for the government to depend on the people and not vice versa.
The House adopted a motion to invite the Council of Legal Education and Board of Benchers to explain why law graduates of National Open University of Nigeria are not enrolled into the Nigerian law schools. That motion was moved by Representative Ayodele Oladimeji from Ekiti State. The House, in the Committee of the Whole, adopted the recommendations of the Ad hoc Committee on Investigation of the declaration by the Attorney General of the Federation that the Inspector General of Police should disregard the House resolution on the Kogi State Assembly takeover. One of the recommendations is that the Inspector General of Police should reseal the Kogi State House of Assembly complex, while the Attorney General should immediately withdraw his advice.
And the committee made it clear that the Attorney General had erred, both factually on 2 grounds. First, there is no House rule, and we want to make this abundantly clear at this point. There is no House rule that states that any matter before a court cannot be discussed in the House.
The House also resolved that a Kogi State governor should send his 2016 budget to the National Assembly for consideration. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nko, NTA News.
And still on the economy, the federal government has again restated its determination to ease the hardship being faced by Nigerians. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Muhammad, alongside some cabinet members, gave the assurance at a meeting with Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria in Abuja. Anthony Fosin reports.
At occasions like this, Information and Culture Minister Lai Muhammad is better described as being at home. He, alongside Minister of Agriculture Audu Ogbe, Minister of Environment Amina Mohammed, and Minister of Finance Kemi Adeosun, they reeled out the present administration's policy direction.
By working assiduously to diversify our economies away from oil, agriculture, solid minerals, culture and tourism are some of the sectors we are currently working to rejuvenate so that we can earn these revenues for the country and also create jobs.
Finance Minister, in her outlook of the Nigerian economy, said government is working towards a fiscal stability by diversifying non-oil earnings by 87%.
What is your capital, your power, your rail, your roads, your housing,
Only 10 naira for every 100 we spend goes on those things. 90% goes on travel, training, food, printing. Those things do not grow the economy. And we have always known, and we've always been told that we were too dependent on oil. That if oil price should crash, we were going to be in trouble. We fundamentally believe that this change that people voted for, they don't want more of what we've been doing in the past. They want a different direction.
For environment, cleaning up Ogoni land is one of the present administration's priorities.
The cleanup there, again, is an opportunity not just to clean up the pollution that was created by oil companies, but also to produce an alternative for that pollution in Ogoni land and in the Niger Delta, which we know is considerable.
On revamping agriculture, Audogbe said it has to be pursued with vigor.
Because this reckless policy of importation over a period has brought Nigeria down to near zero. What happened to cocoa? We were among the top leaders, top producers in the world. We are now number 3 in Africa, with Ivory Coast approaching 2 million tons and Nigeria battling with 250,000 tons. And yet cocoa can grow in 23 states. Rice can grow in virtually every state of this country. Move Nigeria back to where she was in cocoa in the next 4 years. Thank God our scientists in this country have discovered a breed of cocoa that yields in 18 months from the date of planting instead of 4 years.
The newspaper proprietors did not just listen to the minister's score sheets. They engaged the ministers in a question and answer session. Veteran journalist Ray Epu applauded the federal government.
I believe that from what has transpired here, the government is aware that the media people are ready to support this government to succeed.
This is the second time the minister is engaging the newspaper proprietors as part of deliberate efforts to foster closer relationship with government. In Lagos, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
The Senate has adjourned sitting till next Thursday to enable senators from the People's Democratic Party attend their party's state and ward congresses. National Assembly correspondent Muhammad Ali reports.
We received a letter from the minority, and that is PDP, that they are nationwide holding their ward and local government congresses.
That communication from the minority leader explained the empty seats on the side of the opposition in the Red Chamber. Consequently, the Senate leader, Aliu Ndume, moved the motion to stand down all items on the day's order paper and adjourn plenary until Thursday next week.
It has been the tradition of the National Assembly, or the Senate particularly, to always acknowledge the opposition party or minority party in case they have an event of like this.
Away from plenary, Senate President Bukola Saraki hosted the Czech Republic Ambassador to Nigeria, Pavel Max, who informed Senate President of an agricultural and business delegation visiting Nigeria from his country next week. Bukola Saraki expressed happiness over the development, which he said is in line with Senate's drive to make Nigeria's business environment friendly to international investors. The Czech Republic Ambassador to Nigeria, Pavel Max, said the agricultural and business delegation from his country will be exploring investment opportunities in agriculture and other areas of mutual interest to both countries. From the National Assembly, Mohammed Ali, NTA News.
The All Progressives Congress, APC, says it is prepared to learn from the Chinese experience to effectively tackle corruption. The national chairman, Chief John Oyegun, stated this when he received the Chinese ambassador to Nigeria, Gu Zhouji. Ismail Musa has that report.
Within the last 45 years, Nigeria and China have established strategic diplomatic ties in different areas of mutual benefit. Commending the federal government for its giant stride in fighting corruption, which he said is currently redeeming the image of Nigeria in the Committee of Nations, the Chinese ambassador noted that the visit is an avenue to say farewell to Nigeria as an ambassador after working for 2 years.
My president appreciated the three policy initiatives like the anti-corruption, economic development, and also peace and stability. The Chinese government and the people, we are ready to work very closely with the people and government of Nigeria.
The Chinese Communist Party, he added, is ready to exchange ideas with the APC. The recent presidential visit to China, Oyegun said, will facilitate agricultural and infrastructural development of Nigeria.
We have a great respect for the People's Republic. If only to come and learn from you how you have managed to contain the menace of corruption.
Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Wife of the President Aisha Buhari has charged wives of the state governors to emulate the Green Education Initiative of the wife of the Ogun State Governor, Mrs. Olufunsho Amosun. Mrs. Buhari gave the charge at a symposium on green economy organized to commemorate the 50th birthday of the wife of the governor. Lekan Obode reports.
The symposium with the theme, Greening the Economy, was in line with the Green Education for the Youth, one of the initiatives that highlighted the passion of the wife of the governor to the society and humanity. Top dignitaries across Nigeria and beyond came to celebrate the wife of the governor. At 50, the wife of the President of Nigeria, Hajia Aisha Buhari, joined her to take her advocacy program on green revolution to other states of the Federation.
I would like to plead with her to take her advocacy on greening the economy to all the various states of Nigeria.
The keynote speaker, Dr. Ayade Olatubosun Alakija, and other discussants suggested the need to guide against environmental pollution, desertification, waste to wealth, tree planting, and maximizing the opportunities inherent in global climate issues as solutions to environmental challenges. The governor of Ogun State, Senator Ibikula Muson, says the state will always welcome the people who will contribute to the development of the state. In Abuja, Lekon Agbode, NTA News.
110,000 women and girls are expected to be empowered through the Information and Communication Technology, ICT, from 2014 and 2019. Adebola Sunday was at the first graduation ceremony where 7,500 graduated in non-formal education.
In a country where more or about 50% of the population is not educated, it means that they are almost excluded.
Statistics from the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, reveals that there are approximately 10.5 million out-of-school children in the world, with girls dominating the figure. And Nigeria accounts for about 47% of the population. To address this challenge, UNESCO and a development partner established a program, UNESCO Always Projects. Mrs. Buhari, who was represented by the wife of the Vice President, Dolapo Shibajo, says the present administration will continue to support programs that will increase access to basic education, especially for the girl child and women.
These will improve their own lives and the lives of their families and the overall condition of life in their communities. They are able to make informed decisions about their future, and they're able to protect themselves from social vices.
Anta Ann is one of the 7,500 beneficiaries.
This time around, I can be able to read and write.
When you look at her, she knows what she's into. She'll be able to help in the economic of even her home.
The girls who dropped school, at risk of dropping school, who had never had the chance to go to school, we need them to be educated.
Participants at the forum call on other private organizations to embrace the gesture in complementing government's efforts. With the empowerment of these over 7,000 women and girls, the question is not who will let me, but who will stop me. Adebola, Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
As Nigeria marks National Albinism Day, the event in Kaduna brought to the fore issues of an all-inclusive education, issues of employment, empowerment, and protection of rights of persons with albinism, among others. Benny Adams has the details.
Albinism is a rare, non-contagious, genetically inherited disorder caused by the lack of melanin, which gives pigmentation in the hair, skin, and eyes, causing vulnerability to sun exposure and bright light. This condition often causes visual impairment and skin cancer in some cases. This has brought about discrimination of persons with albinism, hence the awareness to combat discrimination.
We are calling on Nigerians, everybody, that come out and empower the albinos, employ them, empower them, educate them, give them their rights in the society. We are talking of employment now. Our people went for the recruitment of police. They were turned back, that albinos cannot be recruited into the police. This is a freedom we are fighting for in Nigeria. We are calling on Nigerian government that all albinos should be given their rights. They will be given their rights. They can be employed anywhere.
As I am, I'm a midwife. And it's not preventing me from doing what I want to do. I give injections and do what I want to do. I work freely as every human being works.
Aliu Mohammed Salisu is the special advisor to Kaduna State Governor on issues concerning persons with disabilities and conditions.
So it's under processing. That is before the House of Assembly. They are just working day and night to see how they can bring up that bill and discuss over it to see what terms and what provisions shall be necessary for the people living with disability to bring upward as a part of the government to ensure the success of their activities and their affairs into the society.
The National Albinism Day Awareness March in Kaduna kicked off from the Leventis Roundabout to Murtala Mohammed Square. In Kaduna, Benny Adams, NTA News.
The Director General of NYSC, Brigadier General Suleiman Zakari Kazauri, says more skill acquisition programs will soon be introduced in various orientation camps across the country to enable corps members acquire skills for self-reliance. He made this known while inspecting some facilities at NYSC Permanent Orientation Camp in Kaduna. Correspondent Muhammad Umar Ajingi reports.
That was a welcome salute by some of the corps members who assembled to receive the Director General alongside the staff of the board. The inspection formally began with introduction of the camp officials, interacting with the tug-of-war group and visiting the camp clinic, as well as hostels to see the state of facilities in the camp. The Director General of the NYSC, Brigadier General Suleiman Zakari Kazauri, while addressing the corps members, admonished them to start thinking of ways to add value to their places of primary assignment, assuring them of the board's commitment to introduce new and profitable skill acquisition programs to enable them become employees of labor rather than searching for a white-collar job that is not available.
We will spend more training and more resources on the skill acquisition than any other aspect.
On the matter of the state of some facilities in the orientation camp, the State NYSC Coordinator Muhammad Momo said rehabilitation of some of the facilities will commence immediately.
We have an arrangement in place that as we are vacating, the contractor will come into the camp and ensure that there's a facelift of the facility before the next orientation.
The social committee also entertained the Director General. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umar Ajingi, NTA News.
Arrangements have reached an advanced stage for this year's NTA, FRC and BON annual Ramadan Lecture in Kaduna. This year's Ramadan Lecture, which is the 11th in the series, has as its theme, Who is a Muslim? Towards this end, the organizing committee has been touring the partnering media executives for briefing. Hawa Gimba reports.
2016 Ramadan Lecture, which is the 11th series, is annually organized by the trio of NTA, FRCN and VON as part of their contribution to many rewarding activities during the holy months. The committee chairman, Malan Sani Ibn Saleh, says this year's lecture will have reputable scholars who will deliver lectures on contemporary issues in Islam, hence the need for collaboration.
In view of the circumstances of the country, decided to take the topic, who is a Muslim? This venture you have jointly agreed to continue to undertake is not in vain because it is reaching out.
The acting Director Generals of Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria and Voice of Nigeria promised to work in collaboration with the committee to achieve its desired objective.
It is an aspect in which we cooperate together to see that the moral decency in this country is uplifted.
It's a thing that you will not see the benefit now. It's not quantifiable physically like this, but the blessings that Allah will bring upon you that have taken the responsibility of organizing this lecture annually, we cannot pay you the time, the energy, the resources, the personal commitment.
The theme for the 11th series of the Ramadan lecture is Who is a Muslim, and will be holding on Saturday the 11th of June 2016 in Kaduna. In Abuja, Hawa Gimba, NTA News.
With that report, we draw the curtains. Join us in the next edition of the program. Good afternoon.
Our programs are getting better and fresher. And it's because we are thinking about you.